stuff. That's the most complete game we put together in a long time. We made more free throws than they attempted. Yo, hey, that is a difference maker for us, and that will be a difference maker for us. 22 assists on 36 made field goals. Total team effort.
AB, 1,000th career rebound. Youngest player in team history to do so. And Kel set a new franchise record for most points in a single season.
You're a dog.
While they cheered, celebrated, and talked about the most complete game they'd played in a long time, the person who brought the world's attention to this team was sitting on the sidelines, being systematically erased. This wasn't just a victory celebration. This was the story of an abandonment. The story they don't want you to know is that this record-breaking win wasn't a triumph. It was the final, brutal piece of evidence that pushed Caitlin Clark to her breaking point. We're going to show you how the smiles and the shattered records were just a mask for the jealousy, the betrayals, and the emotional collapse of a superstar who realized in 40 minutes that she had been left behind. What happens when a celebration for you becomes a celebration without you? That was the suffocating irony hanging over Gainbridge Fieldhouse. On the surface, it was Caitlin Clark night. Nike chose this game to launch her signature logo, and the building was covered in it. T-shirts with her CC symbol were handed out to thousands of fans, instantly turning the arena into a sea of support for their injured star. Everywhere you looked, her brand held the building. It was, for all intents and purposes, Caitlin Clark Arena. Her name echoed during pre-game ceremonies, the cheers swelling even though it was her 16th straight game out with an injury. But this spectacle of support was a cruel illusion, because while her logo was on the chairs, she was in street clothes, forced to watch as her team prepared for a must-win game without her. The pressure was immense, not just on Clark, but on everyone. Listen to the voice of her coach, Stephanie White. She tries to celebrate the moment, but you can hear the strain. This is the sound of someone trying to hold a fracturing situation together with sheer force of will.
I don't have any specifics on it. I think right now it's day to day. She's progressed in her rehab and anticipate by hopefully, what is today? What day is today? Tuesday. By hopefully end of the week, she'll be on the floor, at least in practice.
What have you been missing without her? I was talking to her recently about what she brought to you guys, but what do you feel like you've lacked when she is absent from these games?
The ability to spread the floor for AB. I mean, really to have another person that can knock down a shot and we can create some space for AB to go to work on the interior.
Curious on a big picture, was Caitlin able to go through your little walkthrough or whatever you normally do? And what do you want to see ultimately to get comfort whenever the time comes?
Yeah, she went through our walkthrough yesterday. Today it was very short, prior to game time, but she went through it yesterday, and I want to see her in practice, live in practice. I want to see her continue to work to not just build endurance, but to be able to handle contact 94 feet as it's going to be in game, and to be able to do that and sustain from an endurance standpoint. And that's going to take multiple practices to make sure that there's no regression. And as most of us know, when we get fatigued, we look different, and see how she plays through fatigue.
That isn't just gratitude. That's the sound of relief from a coach under siege, trying to find one positive thing to cling to while her team is being torn apart by injuries and internal conflict. She admits that the constant injuries have devastated team chemistry, forcing desperate changes just to stay afloat. This isn't the description of a healthy team. It's the description of a team at its breaking point. But as the game began, the narrative took a dark and painful turn. The team didn't just survive without Caitlin Clark. They thrived. And in doing so, they delivered the first of several devastating emotional blows directly to their sideline superstar. Just minutes into the game, this happened.
And Izzy McMagor in the center jump circle. We are underway from Indianapolis. Odyssey Sims tracks down the jump ball and lays it in.
Sims wearing bright pink shoes, passes to Mitchell. Right corner three. It's good! And it's a record! 771 points and counting in 2025 for Kelsey Mitchell, the most in Fever franchise history.
A record, 771 points, the most in Fever franchise history belonging to Kelsey Mitchell. The record she broke? It belonged to Caitlin Clark, set just last year. In an instant, Clark's name was scrubbed from that part of the record book. replaced by the very teammate whose family was leading a toxic campaign against her behind the scenes. This is the story the cameras in the arena won't tell you. Fact, as Kelsey Mitchell was celebrated on the court, her own sister Chelsea Mitchell was waging war on Caitlin Clark online. In explosive social media posts that have since been deleted, Chelsea viciously attacked Clark and her fans, claiming Caitlin Clark delusional fans could stay mad, and declaring that we all saw who carries the Fever team. Other family members allegedly shared content comparing Clark to a toxic NFL player and claiming she was ruining the Fever's momentum. Connect the dots. This wasn't just a teammate breaking a record. This was a hostile takeover. While the team projected an image of unity, a bitter family feud was exposing the deep-seated jealousy that legends like Nancy Lieberman and Charles Barkley have been warning us about for months. They called out the petty jealousy from veteran players who feel threatened by Clark's success. And here was the proof, exploding into public view. Kelsey Mitchell's family was saying the quiet part out loud. They believed the team was better off without Caitlin Clark. And on this one night, the scoreboard seemed to agree with them. Imagine being Clark, sitting there. Your body is in pain, you're helpless, and you have to watch your own record being shattered by a player whose family is actively trying to destroy your reputation. And the psychological torment doesn't end there. There's the injury itself, a shadowy situation wrapped in vague statements and questionable timelines. Conspiracy. Multiple sources and fan investigations have exposed coach Stephanie White for allegedly lying about Clark's injury. The official story was a workout mishap on August 7th, but fans uncovered evidence suggesting the real injury happened during a game when a teammate stepped on her ankle. So why the different stories? Why the lack of transparency? Listen to the coach's own words when asked for a specific timeline for Clark's return. This does not sound like a coach with a clear plan. It sounds like someone who is hiding something.
Gets hit in the head there at the beginning of the game, comes back in. If you could just speak to her toughness and what it meant seeing her fight through what sure was not very pleasant.
I feel like Lexi's a definition of tough.
Yes.
I think when you just think of her as a player, the way that she hustles, she likes to get loose balls, extra offensive possessions. That's what she does. I mean, she got hit, she came back and just continued to contribute again. Was a pest on defense, just making her presence felt, offensive rebounds, and that's just who Lexi is.
Multiple practices. See how she plays through fatigue. These are vague, non-committal answers that do nothing to silence the speculation from analysts like Skip Bayless, who question if the WNBA is deliberately withholding information, suggesting Clark might be secretly ruled out for the season to keep viewership numbers from collapsing entirely. She's being pushed to her physical limit, but the breakdown is about more than just her body. It's about being abandoned. It's about being left to fight battles on her own. Fact. This season, Caitlin Clark has been the target of 17% of all flagrant fouls in the entire WNBA. Think about that. One player is absorbing nearly a fifth of the league's most aggressive fouls. 80% of those came from a single team, the Chicago Sky, suggesting coordinated, targeted attacks designed not just to play her hard, but to hurt her. And when these brutal non-basketball plays happen, the most damning question echoes across social media. Where were her teammates? Time and again, she's been leveled by cheap shots, and the cameras show a stunning lack of support from the players wearing the same uniform. Even her coach has had to publicly call out the egregious officiating and the unbelievable disrespect from the referees who seem to allow her to be targeted while penalizing her for minimal contact. She is being physically hunted on the court, and the message from the league, the refs, and even her own locker room seems to be, "You're on your own." This feeling of being sacrificed for the greater good was perfectly symbolized by the horrifying injury to her teammate, Lexi Hull. Just minutes into this must-win game, Hull suffered a violent head-to-head collision that left her with a massive knot on her forehead and, as she revealed on TikTok days later, 2 gruesome black eyes. The injury was so bad, her coach called it disgusting. Yet despite the obvious severity, Hull returned to the game, her face visibly swollen. While her teammates praised her toughness, it sparked a furious debate. Was this toughness, or was this a player being pressured to sacrifice her own health for a desperate playoff push? This is the environment inside the Fever right now. A brutal, high-stakes pressure cooker where players are literally putting their bodies on the line, playing through horrific injuries because every single game is treated like life or death. The team is surviving, but at what human cost? Which brings us back to the celebration. After all of this, the erased record, the family betrayal, the injury cover-up, the physical targeting, the feeling of complete and utter abandonment. The game ends. The Fever have won by 20. They've shattered 6 franchise records, and the locker room erupts. Listen to them. They're celebrating a new franchise scoring record, the one that erased Caitlin's. They're celebrating Aaliyah Boston's 1,000th career rebound. They're celebrating their most complete game. But listen closer. What you're really hearing is a team celebrating the fact that they did it all without the player the world says they can't live without. Every cheer is another piece of evidence. Every record is another twist of the knife. Imagine being Caitlin Clark in that moment. Your body is broken. Your record is gone. Your teammate's family is publicly attacking you. And your team is celebrating as if you were never even there. This is how a person breaks. Not with a single catastrophic event, but with 1,000 tiny cuts. The win wasn't a win for Caitlin Clark. It was the final devastating confirmation that she had been left behind. The team has now proven they can win without her. They've proven they can break records without her. So the question that no one inside that organization wants to answer is, do they even want her back? With the playoffs hanging by a thread and a locker room that is clearly fractured by jealousy and resentment, the battle for the soul of the Indiana Fever is just beginning. And sources are telling us the real breakdown is yet to come.